It's that time, guys. The transfer window is now closed, and it's about time we have a look at all the moves and shakes and try and work out who is the best Sorare cards that made a transfer in this summer. Who's going from zero to hero, pardon the expression again. But, you know, we're looking for those cards that are maybe undervalued, are maybe slept on, that people haven't quite clicked on yet, that, hey, this guy's made a move, and all of a sudden his outlook, his situation is going to be totally different. At any point in the video today, if you do, laugh, you learn, you like something or whatever, please do like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this, and get into the comment section in this one and let me know who would you have added into the video today. Who did I miss out? Who do you think is a glaringly obvious contender for top 10 summer transfers on Sorare for 2024? And yeah, let's just get stuck straight into this one. Now, I wanted to feature all of these from within Champion Euro because I just feel that that is the competition that pays out the best cards, the most money, and generally if you can get a guy undervalued, under the radar in that region, it could hit probably the hardest. But I could not do this video without adding in, and we're just going to do him first, Alex Telles, or Alex Telles, who has moved out of the Red X territory. He's left Alain and he's went back to his home country. He's went back to Brazil to play for Botafogo. And if you don't know Alex Telles, if that's how you say it, I don't know, all the Portuguese and the Brazilian stuff is starting to melt on me here. Now, Sorare Data's history doesn't go back as far as it used to, but Alex Telles at Porto, taking all the set pieces for them, was one of the original cheat code fullbacks. You know, if you think about Trent and some of these other guys, Telles was playing that game before they were even on the platform. At Man United, I don't think he did that bad or that great. A lot of DNPs, but you can see the kind of promise here. And with him now being back in Brazil at a team that, you know, generally won't be conceding that many goals. The Brazilian league isn't that high scoring a division. He is a set piece man. And, you know, if he can show even a fraction of the ability he was showing for Porto that got him the move to Man United and subsequently into Saudi Arabia, then for the Challenger region in the Brazilian League, Alex Telles is a classic defender card, could be one of the most cheat code guys that we see this year. And in a similar vein, we could not include James Rodriguez, who finally has Sorare cards. This summer, he made the move into Rayo Vallecano, would you believe it, out of all the teams he could have signed for. And there is no way in a month of Sundays for me that James Rodriguez is not going to be the primary playmaker, is not going to be the primary set piece taker for Rayo Vallecano. And with them not having any European football to think of this year, it is very reasonable to assume this form that he showed for Everton, and bearing in mind he was a bit younger, he was playing under Ancelotti, and it's the Premier League, so it's a much harder level. So I think with all things being equal, playing for Rayo Vallecano, I think it's reasonable to assume these types of scores are definitely back on the cards. And James Rodriguez is one of those players that the streets won't forget. He loves to score a worldie, he loves to score a banger, and, you know, he's definitely going back to La Liga after that failed stint at Real Madrid. Definitely with a score to settle for me. So I think this is going to be a guy for the big occasions. He's going to be a big game player. And when he is settled into Rayo Vallecano, he's going to be the main guy. So he's going to be one of the OP picks, I think, in La Liga, in Champion Europe for like that kicker card. You're probably not going to be running out with a Rayo Vallecano stack unless you're Azzy Mac. But for anyone else, a Rayo player that can deliver scores like this, you could bolster in to a Real Madrid, to a Barcelona, to an Everton, or a Man United, or a Chelsea, or an Arsenal, or a Juventus, or whatever stack you've got going on. If you see Rayo at home, they're playing one of the weaker teams in the league, or maybe they're playing one of the bigger teams, and James is on fire, and you think he's going to be that big match day that big match player. His limiteds at the moment are around £16-17. The rares are under £100 at the moment, and at 33 years of age, I don't really see that changing too much. This is a guy that will definitely be good for at least one season, you would like to think. Now, an old favourite of mine, Stefano Sensi, has finally left Inter Milan on a permanent basis, and he has rejoined Monza. Now, the last time I had this guy in my gallery, he was at Monza, and again, he was the primary set piece taker. Now, Stefano Sensi, before moving to Inter Milan, was a very formidable Serie A player. This was not a surprise to me. Last time he went to Monza, the only surprise I had was just that how in and out he still was in the team. But this little patch you can see here, where if he is fit and available and playing every game, there's no real reason that Sensei should be scoring less than 50 points. And if he does get the decisives, he's very 70 plus, he's 80 plus, he's 100 capable as well. And because of his injury record and and been at a really meh club, his averaging price for a limited card is very, very nominal. And for the rares, it's not that different, to be quite honest with you. At 29 years of age, he's definitely got a lot of time to be making up for. A proven set piece taker, a proven playmaker. And when you watch Monza, when you watch Sensi, he's a very gifted footballer. And as long as he can stay fit and available, I think he could be a great, great option this year. Now, Pascal Gross has probably been the standard bearer, the poster child of this profile of Sorare card for the last couple of years. And making the move to Borussia Dortmund, I think some people were sceptical if he was going to maintain that high scoring average. Was he going to keep set pieces? Was he going to adapt to the Bundesliga? And at 33 years of age, playing for his hometown childhood club after being a very impressive Premier League player, he has hit the ground running. The first two games, as you can see here, a 97 and a 61. You only need to look at his scoring for Brighton in the Premier League, never mind Borussia Dortmund in the Bundesliga, to see what he's capable of. I think on this list, he's probably one of the safest players to transition in their transfer the most successfully. For a limited card at the moment, in season, you are talking the thick end of 50 or 60 quid. But for a classic card, he's going to be firmly under £20. And for a guy that is going to be bringing in 70s, 80s, 100s across this season, Pascal Gross is definitely one of the top summer transfers we've seen on Sorare this year. Because going from Brighton, mid to upper mid-table, to Borussia Dortmund, firmly top three, I think we could see those higher scores appear much, much more often. If the standard bearer, if the poster child of this profile of player wasn't Pascal Gross, it was probably James Ward-Prowse from when he was at Southampton. His transfer to West Ham hasn't been that great, and now it's seen him subsequently move on to Nottingham Forest. And when you look at where James Ward-Prowse fits into this Nottingham Forest team, this could be OP, this could be peak James Ward-Prowse that we get on our hands, because Nottingham Forest have got a very robust squad. They've actually got some really good attacking talents, and with Chris Wood as the striker, you've got to think that James Ward-Prowse's set piece abilities that we've seen here at Southampton, if we can put these scores on screen here, are there to be gotten at Nottingham Forest. 90 plus, 70 plus, 80 plus. There's 100 in there. It's like I say, he was able to pull that over to West Ham. He just wasn't really as prolific for West Ham as he was for Southampton. They had some other players to rotate in with. They've had a change of manager now also. But again, he's done it in the Premier League. It's not just the Championship we're seeing these scores for. And, you know, again, this is a guy that when he leaves Southampton, he's wanting to go and get some glory into his career. You don't leave your boyhood club just for more money. I'm sure he's obviously more money is a huge part of it, but I know Nottingham Forest aren't on for winning anything, but you've got to think the ambition is there in the squad when they've got guys like Callum Hudson-Odoi, Morgan Gibbs-White, now James Ward-Prowse to add into it. So, you know, I'm not ruling Forest out of doing something fun this year, but James Ward-Prowse in particular could be, alongside Gibbs-White and Hudson-Odoi, like Forest could have a really powerful Sorare stack on their hands here, and James Ward-Prowse is almost certainly going to be at the heart of it. Now, I am biased for this one, okay, but replacing James Ward-Prowse at West Ham United is King CarlosCCIR. Now, I did a video on Sorare a few days ago. If you missed it, it'll probably be linked at the end of this one, but CCIR for me is a proven set-piece operator from his time at Valencia, and finally being released, finally been sold on from Paris, coming into West Ham. They need a guy that's a bit better than Ward-Prowse. They still need a guy that can be their set piece taker, and although we're still to see the proof in the pudding here, I think CarlosCCIR is really going to hit the ground running. At the moment, his limiteds for me are very undervalued, and this is a guy, like I said before, like, you know what you're getting with him. As long as he fits into the system that Julian Lopetegui has at the moment, where there's a two-man engine room. So far he's played Guido Rodriguez and either Thomas Souček or Edson Alvarez, but if he comes in there next to a ball winner, that's a perfect dynamic for him to then feed Lucas Paqueta, to play Kudus, to play Bowen, to play Somerville, to play Füllkrug and Antonio in attack. And really, like, this could be one of CCIR's best seasons. West Ham don't have European football this year, which means they'll be going weekend to weekend with their best squad possible. It's hard to say at this stage how many set pieces he'll actually get. Will it be all the corners, all the free kicks, that kind of thing? But we're just finally glad to see him getting away from this situation at PSG here. So it's very firmly of my opinion that CCIR is going to have one of the biggest upticks in last year's performance to this year's performance. And from what we've seen of him at Valencia, when he was a core guy, he was a key guy, this for me is definitely one of the summer transfers that we've seen this window. And yes, I know I'm biased. Again, I'm going to be a little bit biased with this one, but finally seen it done right at the end of the window. Very similar, guys, as you might have seen already with this list. I am really focusing on guys that will get that high AA, maybe get on set pieces as a result of their transfer. And Tune Coop Miners could be on for the biggest uptick on overall status and performance of anyone in this list. At Atalanta, very formidable. At AZ, even more formidable. And now at Juventus, we could see that AZ form now in a champion Euro setting in the Serie A, with Juventus playing in the Champions League and everything else. Thiago Motta's football is going to suit Coop Miners down to the ground. He's been hand-picked, hand-chosen by him, as well as a huge litany of transfer business that Juventus have already done this year. A really new look side that I feel that Coop Miners is going to be the star midfielder for, in essence. If we zoom out and we have a look at his scores when he was at AZ in Holland, a dominant side in the top 3, top 4 spots in the division, taking the majority of the set pieces. This is what I expect to happen. I can't remember who it was, but someone likened this move to maybe it being Juventus's De Bruyne. And that is really what I am thinking. This is what I am hoping for. At Atalanta in Serie A, he was no slouch either. He also had that bit of a bedding in period when he's first moved in from the Eredivisie. And Atalanta do rotate. They've played lots of midweek football over his time there as well. Generally a bit of a weaker squad, although very exciting and very capable. You know, you've got to think the Juventus best 11 at the moment does look very robust and very well rounded. So this is a move again for me. I think Coop Miners for a limited, you're talking £20 to £30 on in-season. On a classic card, £10 to £15. I think his price is going to change very quickly. An established Dutch international as well. So tons of midweek utility in the Champions League and for the internationals. But there's two moves that I think really went under the radar this year that are going to really complement one another. I've not brought him back into the gallery yet, but I might still yet do that at super rare level, and it is Oscar Rodriguez. He's been dotting around La Liga for years at this point, after having a real breakout season on loan at Leganes from Real Madrid a couple of years ago, and he has went back to Leganes. A limited card at the moment is about £2 or £3 in season, about 50p for the classic. And yeah, the Sorare scoring doesn't go far back enough to his first time when he was at Leganes, but already in the first couple of appearances, as you can see here, like, they've not had great opponents. I think you'll actually be quite disappointed with only having one decisive over these games. This is a guy that got into the Spain team off the back of his Leganes performances before, scoring direct free kicks, taking the corners, and doing everything. He was a bit of a one-man operation for him, a bit of a one-man team. So I think now that he's going back there, he's going to definitely want to get his career back up and running again, because the last couple of clubs, you know, Sevilla and Getafe and whoever else, it's not really worked out for him. But if you're going to be a set piece taker and you're going to get decisive actions, you're going to need someone to stick the ball in the back of the net. And this is maybe one of the most slept on transfers in Champion Europe. And that is Sebastian Haller, also joining Leganes from Borussia Dortmund. Now, we've seen this guy rip it up at Ajax. We've seen him doing very, very well at Borussia Dortmund as well. His in-season card is under £7 at the moment. His classic is under £3. And, you know, he started life in Serie A without featuring yet, but it has been to much fanfare and much aplomb. And when you look across Serie A, you know, we had earlier in this video James Rodriguez at Vallecano, looking at Leganes and one or two other clubs. There is like a couple of players and a lot of very interesting spots now that could be goal scorers. Like Haller, you know, is he going to be breaking the hundreds? Probably not. Is he going to be good for AA? Probably not that great. But if Leganes are going to score 45 goals this year, you've got to think he's on 20, 18, 15 of them. Never mind a couple of assists, and then we factor in O-Rod as well for a couple of them. When you get small teams that maybe do break into mid-table or do something, and they've got a player of, or two players of this caliber, you tend to find that the decisive actions get congregated or, you know, concentrated in on those players here. So for a budget champion, a budget La Liga kind of setup or whatever, I would really be looking at Oscar Rodriguez and Sebastian Haller as a bit of a double play here. And one move that I think I could not have done this video without including, we've seen Wilfried Zaha return to Champion Europe. This move to Turkey, to Galatasaray, didn't really happen. I'm sure he's filled his pockets with another bucket load of money, but he has went to the League of Talents. He has went to Ligue 1 to join Lyon. Now, this move suits him down to the ground for me. The Wilf Zaha that we've seen be the one-man wrecking ball for Crystal Palace is coming into a Lyon team and in a league that really will suit his playstyle and really need him to be that guy once again. And like his career in Turkey had some good moments, had some spikes in there, but I just don't think the league, the style of play, the strength of the squad as well, with all the foreigner rules that they've had changing over the last couple of years, has really worked out well for him at all. I think we're much more likely to see the sort of Zaha that we've seen at Palace. Yeah, like Lyon aren't going to win the league. They probably will finish top 4. And in some games, maybe he's coming in a 46, a 52 or whatever. But if they're dominating, if they're winning, if he's getting involved in the decisives, 70 plus, 90 plus, it is there. And for forward cards, this is a really hard thing to find in Champion Euro, especially for a limited under a £5 on in-season and in Classic under £2. So Wilf Zaha at 31 years of age, I think he'll be going to Lyon and thinking, can we win the Cup? Can we get into the Champions League? Could we upset PSG and Marseille and these other kind of established powers in the league and maybe do something? I think it's a little bit too soon for that kind of thing. But yeah, they could maybe have a bit of a run in the Cup and maybe do something that way. But Zaha, I think very quickly will be a transfer that Sorare managers will notice and go, crap, why didn't I pick one up? So again, similar to Alex Telles and one or two of the other guys, we had to include them in this video. And honestly, I could probably add in another 3 or 4 transfers that are on my list here that didn't quite make the video. But what I thought I would do is I would keep these ones to one side. And if there is a great bunch of comments that come from you guys, really fantastic ones that I've missed out, not included, then we can do a part 2 of this one. On screen and now some other stuff that I've made that YouTube thinks you might enjoy. Don't forget to get into the comment sections and tell me who I've missed out on this one. Like and subscribe for more content like this. Stay out of trouble, and I'll catch you on the next one.